Hey, Buc Bros, welcome back to our preview session here on YouTube. This is where we, Buc Bro, Ryan, Bryce, and John, talk everything that leads to this week's game, week 4, this time against the Eagles. The Bucs come out against the Jets. They made 3-0. The Eagles make a squeaker by the Rams. They're at 3-0, so something's got to give this week. Bryce and John, welcome back here. Let's get into it. Let's start with our offensive preview. I've come up with the title here, and the theme I think this week is continue that next man up mentality. We've seen it with the O-line. Now Mike goes down. We got to keep grinding out wins here, especially against such a vaunted enemy in the Eagles as they come in at 3-0. So how do we continue our next man up mentality and get out with a win on the offensive perspective?
Hey, broadcasters. I'm with you. It's been a rash of injuries for this team going forward, and seeing Mike go down, in the fourth quarter of the Jets game. All of us were holding our collective breaths, like, oh God, I hope it's not anything serious. Sounds like, fortunately, we'll know a little bit more later in the week, uh, but it's only a mild or low grade strain, hamstring strain. So hopefully he's only out for a couple of weeks, but more than likely he'll be out for this game. So yeah, it's just gonna be a tough ask, but they've been kind of able to take that mentality of next man up. No matter who's in the lineup, we're gonna work our butts off and do what we can to pull out a win. They'll be ugly for sure, but it's how we're gonna have to win football games. And there's a tough opponent coming up in Philadelphia. Super Bowl champions. The last time they lost a game was back in Week 4 of last season to this specific team. Right, the Bucs are the last team to beat the current version of the Philadelphia Eagles. So we'll see. I mean, on the offensive side of the ball, we're gonna have to try to establish the run, get Bucky and Shad. Hopefully, we can create a little bit more running lanes than we did against the Jets, but that'll be a tough ask with Jalen Carter and company on the defensive side of the ball for the Eagles. We'll see if Godwin can come back. There's been reports that he might come back week 4, along with him and Wirfs. If especially if Wirfs comes back, that's really our best player basically is coming back, and just at an important time, right? Against the defending Super Bowl champs. So hopefully, cross our fingers that does come to fruition. But if not, we're going to need Emeka Ibuka to kind of, he's been the number one option essentially all season, and just continue that with Baker, Sterling Shepard to step up. Maybe Tez Johnson gets some action in there. And, Grizzard's really been pretty good at scheming some plays and getting us, enough to get there to be able to win the football game, especially obviously late in the game when we have a chance to win. And if Baker continues to be Baker, he's been all season long so far, we'll have a chance to win every football game we play. Then on the defensive side of the ball, it's really just stop the run, in my opinion. That's what the Eagles like to do, right? They like to run the ball with Saquon. They are get you in. They want to get you into third and short situations so they can just push Jalen Hurts' butt all the way forward and false start 25 times a game. So if we can force them to be in third and long situation, obvious passing downs, Todd Bowles has shown a proclivity to really get into Jalen Hurts' head and make him uncomfortable. And if we continue to do that, we stand a good chance to limit their offense. Now, last couple games, Devontae Smith and AJ Brown have been hurt, I think. So we will have to see how we face up. But the cornerbacks have been pretty impressive this season so far. Zion's played pretty good. Jamel Dean's really stepped up, and they're quick enough and big enough to be able to, stay with AJ Brown and Devontae Smith. So it'll be a tough ask for sure. This is going to be a really tough game, kind of a measuring stick for both. Our team for sure. I think the Eagles too. It's 2-3-0 teams, so it should be a really good game there on Sunday.
I think they've looked mediocre against mediocre competition. They looked pretty weak against the Cowboys. They looked pretty weak against the Chiefs, both of which are terrible teams this season. And they had a pretty good showing against the Rams. This is going to be a tough game either way, but I don't think that they are necessarily any tougher on our schedule right now than say the Texans were scheduled to be at the time. This should be this should be a game that we should be able to win this game, especially at home.
Yeah, we're hoping that this game is playing to years prior with Jalen Hurts, right? As Bryce said, we were the last team to beat this version of the Eagles with Saquon Barkley. So hopefully we repeat history here. I think it's going to be pretty tough, especially given all of the injuries that we have and are dealing with. I'm a little worried about the offensive line, so I agree if Tristan Wirfs can come back. I don't know how that line shakes up. I don't know if Barton moves to right tackle or if he moves inside and we have Heck play the tackle position, but anytime you can get Wirfs on the line, that benefits the line. So I'm hoping that can happen. But we're going to have, I think the key is Emeka stepping into that one role, getting maybe, like John said, some production from Tez, and then really leaning on Bucky and Shad in the run game. I thought we tried to do that. We weren't as successful as we maybe would have liked to have been, but we were successful enough in the run game last game against the Jets. I think that's going to really help us set the tone. And like Bryce said on defense, stop the run, focus on containing Jalen. And, I think that this team, our current version of the Bucs, especially with Vita, is the one team that seems to throw fits to Philadelphia and how they choose to run with Saquon. So if there's a team that can do it, it's definitely a Todd Bowles-led defense. And so I prepare for a good game, but a close game. So nothing that we're not used to this season.
I did see that I think they were working out again Desmond Watson, who, for those who don't know, was on our preseason roster. He was an unsigned draft pick. But to give you a picture of this guy, he's 6'6", 460 pounds. Now, I think he's put some weight down, hopefully. But could you imagine if they signed him for this game and you've got Vita Vea and that Desmond Watson as your tackles going up against that tush push? Good luck trying to push like 800, 900 pounds of just big giant men, 1 or 2 yards, and I will say, of all the teams that have been able, that go up against that tush push, yes, it's extremely successful. It's debatable whether that play should be legal or not, but regardless, the Bucs have seemed to be the ones that have been able to kind of defend it the best. I do remember in the playoff game, they went for it on it was a 2-point conversion. They were trying to score, and we were able to stop them. So that will be, and I think Vita Vea does play a huge role in that because he is such a force up the middle that you really have to, I will say it does seem when you look at those replays, like they're definitely jumping off the ball before the ball snapped. So that's where they're getting some of the advantage. But hopefully, again, just keep them out of those short yardage situations, and they're going to have to go win it, in the air. And if we can do that, should stand a good chance to win this game.
Let's put a prediction on this. I don't think I forgot to do this last week. So let's put our score predictions out there. I think I'll start us off. I said it's going to be a close game, true to how we've been playing this season. So I'll say that we win a close one, 23-21, an old school score.
I'll go next because I'm very excited to hear what John's prediction is going to be. But I agree with you. I think it's going to be a very close game. Probably going to come down to another late game heroic, by Baker, the way that this season's going. So I'm going to go Bucs 24, Eagles 21. So not too far off your prediction.
1 point.
See,
I like those even, scores. So maybe there's a safety in there or something that throws it off.
I wanted to go 24-21, but now you got me thinking about it. And with Saquon and Emeka Egbuka and Bucky Irving and Rachaad White and the way they've kind of looked lately, and the way our defense has been playing, it might be a higher scoring game than that, just on both sides of the ball. So I'm gonna go Bucks 31, Eagles 24.
All right. We'll see how those scores take place, see if anybody predicts them right. Let's move on to Buc Bros Fantasy. For those of you who are just joining, we have a Buc Bros Fantasy League going where we pick 2 players. The first player we pick is always going to be with the Bucks roster. And then afterward, we're going to snake the order of the Bucks picks for an NFL player. Key there is that an NFL player, once they are picked, cannot be picked again. So there are multiple players off the board for us already as we pick for week 4. This week, I start us off with the Bucks picks. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to pick our captain this year, Baker Mayfield. I've got him on my usual fantasy team. Might as well double dip. Next is going to be Zach. He's not here recording for us, so he did tell us his pick earlier. He's going to pick Bucky Irving. He seems to be getting involved. My prediction of leaning on him is right. Hopefully that works out for Zach. That moves us to Bryce, who's now on the clock.
All right, and with the 3rd pick in the Week 4 Buc Bros Fantasy League, the Hustle and Hustle Balls are going to take Mecca Ibuka.
The number 1 receiver now, unless Cowboy comes back. Emeka's gone, Bucky's gone, Baker's gone. John, who are you picking? Who's left?
Tez
Johnson first. All right.
They've got no tape on him. You know what I mean? He's fast. He's dynamic. This would be a great game to get him involved.
He was close to getting that, maybe a touchdown in that Jets game. If Baker didn't overthrow him, that for sure was going for a tutty.
John, that wraps around to you. We're at the NFL player right now.
Ooh, NFL players. I'm going to take Michael Pittman Jr.
Bryce, you're up, NFL.
All right, let's see. Part of me wants to just take whoever the hell who's playing the Cowboys after seeing how many fantasy points they've been giving up recently. The Packers.
Jordan Love it is, bro.
Probably not a bad call. But I'm going to go with the guy who lit up the Cowboys last game, and Caleb Williams.
Oh, he's going to regress to the mean, dog. Don't even worry about it.
Playing the Raiders. They're not good either.
All right, so Zach, again, not with this, but he's next on the clock for NFL. He is picking Devon Achane. So that brings me back to us. Bryce, I'm going to take your advice, and I'm going to pick Jordan Love. That's it for fantasy. Again, if you guys want to keep up with us throughout the whole season, you can also keep up with our fantasy tracker on Instagram. That's at Buc Bros TP. So if you want to see how we're doing throughout the year and who's winning and who's losing, look for us on Instagram. Let's wrap this episode up. We're doing 50 years for the Bucs celebration. So in this 50 years, we're going to go to a game that we can reminisce on. And with the Eagles coming to town, it is easy to find one. We have had the Eagles for a little bit, but how can you not pick Set the Vet Down? No more vet. 2002's championship moment, arguably in that NFC Championship with Rondé, sealing the game with the game-winning pick. I thought that would be good, but you could have gone with anything. Could have gone Matt Bryant Day.
Matt Bryant
Day. Yeah. I think that was also 23-21, which is my inspiration for the pick this year. You could have gone with Joe Jaravicius, and the team blanking them at the opening of Lincoln Financial Field. There are quite a few picks. Could have gone with Jalen Hurts' his first playoff game against Tom Brady. So quite a few things.
One where I was attended live where we just sacked him a million times, and that was our first. Well, Baker's first playoff win as a Buccaneer. That was a great night, Monday Night Football. Yeah, a lot of good success against the Eagles recently after all the heartache they caused us in those early 2000s and those Dungy teams where they just always seem to kick us out of the playoffs. So we've had their number pretty much ever since.
All right, Buc Bros, that's it for us this evening. You can catch us again on Instagram at Buc Bros TP, or if you're on TikTok at Buc Bros 11. If you want to follow along with us throughout the season, fantasy, Bucks bets, and even more to come for you guys. So thanks for joining us for this episode. We'll see you guys next week. But for now, we're going to leave you with a Go Bucks.
Go Bucks!
Go Bucks.